This is the April 4th Coalition Show. This is the November 18th edition of the April 4th Coalition Show. The April 4th Coalition mission statement is, we are for workers' rights and collective bargaining rights, and we're against tax breaks for the rich and corporations who ship our jobs overseas. We heartily endorse the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, but as our custom is, we highlight Article 23 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and I'm lucky to have Susan Rose and Michael Wilbur here with me to get through this show. And I'm going to do number 1 and number 3. Susan's going to do number 2, and Michael's going to do number 4. So, Article 23, Section 1. Everyone has the right to work, to free choice of employment, to just and favorable conditions of work, and protection against unemployment.
Everyone without any discrimination has the right to equal pay for equal work.
Number 3, everyone who works has the right to just and favorable remuneration, ensuring for him or herself and his or her family an existence worthy of human dignity and supplemented, if necessary, by other means of social protection.
Number 4, everyone has the right to form and join trade unions for the protection of his or her interests.
Well, we want to thank everyone that helps make this show possible, everybody at Northern Berkshire Community Television. And we've had a month off, and during this month there's been a consequential election. I really don't have a lot to say, and I had a hard time coming up with what to say about the election because I see it as a big challenge for us. And the biggest thing that I'm concerned about right now is the rights of immigrants in this country, the rights of the downtrodden and the poor. And it seems like the rich, the oligarchs, the big business interests and the moneyed interests have really taken control of what is going to be our next government. And one of their first targets seems to be, they're talking about mass deportations of people. And it's if you look through the lens of the people that are running the government, it's always a way to make money for themselves. There's the companies that run private prisons, their stocks have gone up. There's people who gave like millions and millions of dollars to the campaign. Their stocks catapulted, and they're going to be given positions in the government to do whatever they feel is necessary to change the way our government has functioned over the last 100, 200 years.
Yeah.
But first, I want to start, I thought of Emma Lazarus and her poem that's on the
nice.
Statue of Liberty. And so we're going to dedicate this show to learning about her and that poem. But when I think of the name Lazarus in my study of the Christian religion, in the Bible, Jesus spoke about a parable of Lazarus. So we're going to show that video about the parable of Lazarus because I think it applies to
Yes.
our country right now. So if we could watch that video.
There was a rich man who dressed in purple and fine linen, and who feasted sumptuously every day. But at his gate lay a poor man named Lazarus, whose body was covered with sores, who longed to eat what fell from the rich man's table. In addition, the dogs came and licked his sores. Now the poor man died, and was carried by the angels to Abraham's side. The rich man also died and was buried. And in hell, as he was in torment, he looked up and saw Abraham far off, with Lazarus at his side. So he called out, "Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus to dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, because I'm in anguish in this fire. But Abraham said, Child, remember that in your lifetime you received your good things, and Lazarus likewise bad things. But now he is comforted here, and you are in anguish. Besides all this, a great chasm has been fixed between us, so that those who want to cross over from here to you cannot do so, and no one can cross from there to us. So the rich man said, Then I beg you, Father, send Lazarus to my father's house, for I have 5 brothers, to warn them, so that they don't come into this place of torment. But Abraham said, They have Moses and the prophets. They must respond to them. And the rich man said, No, Father Abraham, but if someone from the dead goes to them, they will repent. He replied to him, If they do not respond to Moses and the prophets, they will not be convinced, even if someone rises from the dead.
Well,
That was quite telling.
Michael, any reaction? I just, I just put that out there that when we're talking, we're trying to raise the alarm, that, we value, we don't hate these rich people that are in charge, but we want to wake them up to say, look,
Yes.
Yeah.
don't close your eyes to this problem. These people, every human being on this earth is as valuable as the other.
Together.
And, amassing all that wealth and ignoring the needs of the poor is not the way that our country was set up. It's not the foundation that we were built upon, and that's not what we have.
And now the government is running the country are all rich people. And I think that was really appropriate, the video.
She makes a point.
Yeah, so
She does.
the
See, because-
story, yeah.
Yeah, because I tell you, when you look at the people in power and money, sooner or later, something's going to happen somewhere to it.
Right.
A
And
long
even-
time.
Yeah, and even some of the churches are aligning themselves with power and wealth rather than the poor. The the poor should be the concentration. But I want to turn to Emma Lazarus right now, and we have a video. It's called The New Colossus, and let's hear that video.
Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land. Here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that Twin Cities frame. Keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my light beside the golden door. Emma Lazarus.
It's a beautiful poem.
It sure is.
And that image that they showed at first, the Colossus, I not that well read, but apparently that was in ancient Greece. That was how you entered the Greek land, was that statue. And to do just the opposite in our country, to have a woman with a flame
that's true.
of liberty rather than a warrior
Yeah, welcoming.
those people.
Yeah.
So she had quite a life, and I want to watch another little segment. It's about New York City, but it talks about Emma Lazarus in it, and we learn a little bit more about her life. So let's watch that New York documentary.
In early December 1883, a 34-year-old German Jewish poet named Emma Lazarus, appalled by the recent upsurge of anti-Semitic violence in Russia, submitted a 14-line poem to help the faltering fundraising campaign for the pedestal of the Statue of Liberty. The liberty her sonnet celebrated had nothing to do with the abstract political ideals the French had intended. It was liberty as a beacon of hope, shining out to oppressed peoples around the world. It was the future, reaching out to the present, to unchain humanity from the shackles of the past.
The promise of New York to anybody who comes here is the promise of Emma Lazarus at the Statue of Liberty. And there was a reason that that poem, which structurally and in terms of the words used, could be thought to be very sentimental. Certainly it is. And then it contains something. The test of that poem is that it is true. And these huddled masses yearning to be free did come here, and we did make them free. In fact, no matter who you are, at some point in your life, hearing those words or reading those words, just thinking of those words, your eyes will fill with tears. And what makes you tearful is that truth.
Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore, send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. I'll never forget those words.
Emma Lazarus herself never saw the statue her poem so movingly commemorated, or the epic human tide it foretold. Traveling in Europe during the final months of the statue's construction, she was diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease. Passing through the harbor on her way home in the summer of 1887, she was too ill and weak even to come on deck. She died in her home in Manhattan 3 months later, at the age of 38. More than 15 years later, on May 6, 1903, a bronze plaque inscribed with her stirring words was finally affixed to the base of the statue. It would take decades more for Americans to realize the full meaning of the gift the French had given them.
Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land. Here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that Twin Cities frame. Keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my light beside the golden door. Emma Lazarus.
Well, I just, compare that to what we've heard, the constant bombardment of people worried about open borders, or poor people coming in, or immigrants eating people's dogs, all these lies, you know, this is long lasting. This is deeply rooted in the American system. One administration cannot erase this belief that we have. I heard announcers say it, they've been deporting people forever, but people keep coming because of this, because of the promise that it's worth the try to come, and they'll come back again, you know. But all the effort in targeting those people, if that money was used to feed people and find out why they're leaving the countries they're leaving, and maybe providing the aid that's needed in those poorer countries so that people can stay home and not feel that they have to flee. Because there's people making money off of them leaving the country. They're taking their money to get them to America. And then there's people making money on sending them back. They're just a means of people making money and not looking at them as human beings that have dreams and people who could actually build this country. I got this Apple phone here. The guy who founded Apple, Steve Jobs, his father was a Syrian immigrant, a Syrian refugee that came to this country. And look what he built, probably the most affluent company in the country. You know, I mean, we have to invite these people. But we have another video. I'm sorry, I don't want to ramble too much, but it's Emma Lazarus, the Poet of Exiles. It tells a little bit more about her life. So let's see if we can do that poem.
When you read The New Colossus, there is prophecy in there.
You know how it feels. You understand what it is to be a stranger in this unfriendly land. Here's my hand. Here is my hand. Take it, darling, and I'll follow you.
It's a poem about adoption. It's a poem about imagining a child, imagining the wretched refuse, the abject individuals, as the children of a new nation. It's an extraordinary vision that she has.
France gave us a gift that has become the most recognizable symbol in the world of a national openness. And yet, it heralded an era of restrictive nativism, including anti-Semitism. Lazarus is well aware of this.
I read Emma Lazarus and I think about the role of the Shekhinah, the divine presence, the mother of exiles in Jewish texts. And I hear that echoing in Miss Liberty's standing there, looking out with her kind, mild eyes, welcoming the yearning masses home.
Emma Lazarus not only took a statue and transformed its meaning, she was the first person to make any sense of it.
Everybody's from somewhere else, and everybody has to interact with other people who are from other somewhere else's. What that means is that this country is one that is caught in the constant struggle between what to remember and what to forget.
The original idea behind the Statue of Liberty was to give a gift which commemorates a century of liberty in the United States. And lots of French artists wanted to create monumental things. It was a kind of age of grandiosity.
This was one of the tallest structures in the United States at that time, a kind of proto-skyscraper.
she is maternal, and she is majestic, and she's unquestionably a goddess. She is the goddess of America.
When the Statue of Liberty went up, people who wrote about it saw it as shielding the United States from all these unwashed masses who were coming in.
But Emma espoused immigration to people who were terrified of immigrants. Yes, it's welcoming, but it's a poem of protest.
I think the potential is there within America, within the United States, to be that place where even the quote-unquote lowest of the low feels empowered.
One of the most amazing sentences that Emma Lazarus ever wrote was, "Don't use the miniature standard of Europe to judge a colossal experiment." She saw America as something larger than Europe, partly because it was an idea. America was born in the mind, and anything that lives in the mind can be very, very large.
The United States seemed to provide space, psychological space, physical space, economic opportunity. There was room here for people for whom there was no room in many other parts of the world.
I'm not sure that America is a place of refuge anymore. It seems to me that probably it's something more like an arena. This is a place where people come to realize themselves, but it's also a place that people come to prove themselves. So it's not about coming here and being welcomed and nourished and healed. It's about being given a chance.
And instead of just assimilating to one thing, I think people are seeing that there are many ways of being an American. I think that's really interesting that this identity is very malleable and flexible and fluid. And I think that's what being American is, that you can kind of be anything.
If we are a nation of everybody self-inventing, what's to keep us together? And I think that most people are hoping that just a love of freedom will unite this country. And whether that's actually true or not, well, that's why they call this the Great Experiment. We don't know.
Her poem is a warning as well as a celebration. And I think that if we fail to read it in both ways simultaneously, we do her poem an injustice, we do the statue an injustice, and we do the ideal itself an injustice.
The Statue of Liberty is the one, in my mind, that gets the beating when I'm disappointed. For example, why have we not properly confronted the Native American past?
She wrote in the Epistle to the Hebrews, "We are none of us free until we are all free." And her sonnet observes that light is not shared by all at this moment. Light is only the privilege and prerogative of some, and it's as yet imprisoned.
The statue is always in motion. I lift my lamp, Lazarus says. The statue is constantly lifting that lamp, pointing us to the future.
The Statue of Liberty is holding up a flag and a torch and a promise and a hope that we can be there, that we can reach the promised land. It leaves us with hope. And that's probably the most important ingredient in the human diet.
can keep listening to that poem over and over again.
Me too.
I myself, I got to make a point to get down there. I've not seen the Statue of Liberty. I've not gone there. But I can remember my father telling me his feelings when, after serving 3 years overseas in World War II, fighting through Africa, Sicily, Sardinia, Italy, France, Germany, and then finally coming back to North Adams. But when he said he saw that Statue of Liberty, it brought tears to his eyes. You know, so, you know, when we went over in I think it was the First World War or the Second World War, you know, Lafayette came and helped us during the Revolutionary War. And we have Lafayette Square in Washington, D.C. And when we went back, you know, the soldier said, Lafayette, we are here. We're returning the favor. And now we have this statue given to us by France. So all those memories I have of World War II and everything, I thought I'd cut to just a section of Casablanca where the fascists are trying to overtake the French, who are in despair right now. They're fleeing, trying to get to America. But let's listen to that one scene in Casablanca that I really found very moving.
Yes.
Well, thank you all for joining us. Power to the people.
Oh, yeah. You know that.
Power to the people.
Yeah. It is. And if people don't realize that if we all join together as one to get things done, it's a lot easier instead of finding fault with people.
Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed the show.
There's power in the factory, power in the land, power in the hand of the worker. But it all amounts to nothing if together we don't stand. There is power in our union. Now the lessons of the past were all learned with workers' blood. Mistakes of the bosses we must pay for. The trenches full of mud. War's always been the bossy